Yo, peace. Shout out to all the fellow human beings out there, and thank you for tuning in twice again to the Viewturistic YouTube channel. Let me rap to you for a minute. Today, I want to talk about something that is very, very near and dear to my heart. Um, it's a real personal situation. Hopefully, this can give some insight or maybe some hope or a different perspective to someone else out there who might be in a similar position, who might have gone through a similar position in the past, or this is even an opportunity for me to ask for advice from my viewers. Usually it's me, giving a perspective or giving advice to my viewers, but this is something that, by no means do I feel like, I have all the answers to it, or do I have the perfect solution to deal with this situation. And what I want to talk about is why and how I've devoted my entire life to my son. Um, as some of you know who have been watching my videos in the past, I did a video last year about the views and don'ts of being a single father. That was pretty much the kickoff to me introducing my current lifestyle as a single dad, which is something that has had as many trials and tribulations, many ups and downs. It's a never-ending learning process, and the learning curve for it is very high, especially for someone like me who, I grew up with both of my parents, so I never really, the only glimpse of single parenthood that I got was, like watching family members go through that, friends that I have who have experienced the life of being a single parent. But, other than that, as far as me dealing with it on my own, this was my first introduction to that lifestyle. And let me tell you, it's been far, far from easy. I hate to put myself on blast like this or anything, but I don't know if you can see the puffiness in my eyes, but just recently, a couple minutes before I even started making this video, which is what inspired me to make this video. I ain't gonna lie, like I had a major breakdown in regards to thinking about how challenging this situation has been for me, because it leaves me in such a torn position every time, because on one hand, I care about my son like more than anything in this world. That little dude means the world to me. There's nothing that I feel that I can't do in life without including him in it, whether that's my career aspirations, as most of you seen in my an earlier video. Gunner was sitting right there on my lap with me while I was making a video. He's made some appearances in some videos from last year. But like, whether it's my personal life, my career, you name it, I feel like there's always an opportunity for me to include him in any of those situations. Of course, does it add a level or a layer of difficulty to being able to accomplish certain things and do certain things in life, with knowing that I have the responsibility of another life, under my wing? Hell yeah, it does. Because in the past, before I was a father, I could up and leave. I could move from state to state, move from city to city if I wanted to. I could, if I was working at a job and I was like, to hell with this place, like it's making me miserable, I could just fucking quit, because all I had to worry about was having an income to take care of myself. Like I'll figure it out. However, um, now having another life to be responsible for, the moves have to be a lot more calculated. Now, I'm not I'm not going to give up on my dreams and aspirations at all, but I do know that I have to be a little bit more creative in figuring out a way on how to include my son in that process, so that, for one, he gets to learn, how to be a shot caller, how to be a dream chaser. He gets to learn the principles of um, relentless perseverance. Like all my struggles and my trials and tribulations, I don't want to necessarily shelter my son from those things, because I want him to grow up and be able to say, yo, I saw my dad go through X, Y, and Z. He had this many strikes against him, or this many things going against him, but somehow he dug deep and found the courage to get through it no matter what. Like, I don't want to shield him from that. As much of a struggle as it is for me sometimes to figure out my place in the world or figure out my place in life, with the addition of having him along for the ride, I that's just the type of relationship and the type of bond that me and my son have. And that's just those are the type of real life lessons that I want to instill in my son, because you never know what type of obstacles or difficulties he's gonna face when as he grows. It might happen to him at a young age, it might happen to him as an adolescent, it might happen to him as an adult. You never know. But I want these principles and these values of what I'm going through in struggling to figure out my way with him, I want those to transcend in every other area, every other aspect of his life. So, that's one big reason why I do devote everything that I do to the life of my son. Another reason is because he didn't ask to be here. He didn't ask to be in this shit. He didn't ask to have to split his time between his mom and his dad. I didn't have a kid with the intention of having my time being limited with him. So that's another area where I struggle, because at the end of the day, would I love to be able to take the lead on raising my son in this world? Absolutely, 100% correct. Yes, and I stand on that with everything that I believe. And that's just the nature of the circumstances, and especially considering the fact that his mom and I, we have two completely different paths in life. She wants to take one path, and I want to take one path. Neither one of us want to. Well, I can't speak for her, but I don't want to hold her back from the path that she wants to take, and I don't want her to hold me back from the path that I want to take either. And the unfortunate nature of that circumstance is my son is caught in the middle of that. So because of that, at some point, his time is gonna have to be primarily spent with one of us. If neither one of us are traveling on the same path in life, and like I said, that's just the ugly truth of that situation. And like I said, I'm not ashamed about this. I'm not embarrassed about this. I'm not shy to say this, that I want to be the one to take the lead on raising my son's life. That's just the role that I've adopted as a single father. That's just, that's where my mentality is. That's not to devalue at all. Not at all. I'm not devaluing the role of his mother or a mother in a son's life, but it's just my personal belief that as a father, actually being willing to step up to the plate and take the lead on raising your son and being that primary force and influence in his life, like that's truly what I believe in, and that's what I want. Is that going to happen by the snap of a finger? Not at all. Is there going to be some fight involved in that, some negotiations involved in that? Of course there is, and this is a long road. But like I said, my son didn't ask to be in this situation, so that's another reason why I don't hesitate to devote my entire life to my son. I've had people in the past tell me, Josh, like you can't let this situation control you. You can't let it consume you. You have to go and live your life. While I appreciate that advice and I understand that, a majority of those people who are telling me that are probably coming from that, from a good place in their heart. They're coming at it with great intentions, but on my end, like my son is my life. So me just going on and living my life, regardless of the consequences that's going to have on my relationship or my time spent with my son, that's just not an option for me. I know that there are some fathers out there who have made that choice to just, move on with their life, let the child stay with the mom, whatever the case may be. And I'm not judging that at all, because like I say in a lot of my videos, every situation is different. Maybe that father has a very trusting relationship with the mother of that child, and that just takes away that takes away some of that insecurity that father might have in regards to how that's going to affect the bond that father has with his child. Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of having that security, knowing that I can have that type of relationship with my son's mom. That's a completely different story about where her and I stand in regards to things. But the fact of the matter is the things that I can control is how involved I am in my son's life. And like I said, right now, I just don't have the luxury of being able to say, fuck it, I'm gonna go on and live my life and not let this situation consume me, because this situation is me. Like, my son is me. I am my son. So if that's not stable, then I'm not stable. So a part of my success is being able to maintain a stable, consistent relationship with my son. So, that's why I devote my entire life to my son. It breaks my heart every day just thinking of the potential discomfort that he has to suffer through, because his mom and I couldn't, because we have our disagreements, he has to suffer the consequences of that. And somebody calling me right now. Hold on. The fact that he didn't choose that, it makes me feel like I owe it to him to make sure that he has the best quality of life as possible. I can't control what goes on with his mother. All I can control is what goes on with me. And I know from my standpoint, like I said, anything and everything that I do in life, it can involve him. So I devote everything that I do to my boy. There's no more important role in my life than to being a father to my son. And I hope that, if there's any other single fathers who are seeing this video, or, it doesn't even have to be a single father, just anyone who can relate to this situation, hopefully, what I'm talking about, maybe it can give you some insight on your own situation. Or, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you have any advice to offer to me, I'm accepting different perspectives, different views. I'm accepting that with open arms, because, like I said, this is a constant learning process. The learning curve is very high on figuring out how to maintain and establish a certain level of balance of ensuring that I can be the father that I want to be, but also being the Josh that I want to be, and living my life in its full purpose, and expressing my passions, and understanding that there's going to be some sacrifice involved in being able to do that, but figuring out how to, find that middle ground so that I can be the best version of myself, so that the end result of me being the best version of myself is allowing myself to be the best version for my son. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm already at about 15 minutes of talking, which is about the average for for most of my videos. So I know this video was a bit more, touchy on the emotional side. Like I said, I don't know if you heard my voice cracking a little bit when I was saying some things, but I can't say it any other way, or I can't find the words to describe, or the words that are strong enough to describe how much my son means to me. And I want him to come along on this ride with me. Whether or not these videos lead to me doing huge speaking engagements at places, or this lead, whatever this leads to, or whatever my career leads to, my career outside of doing YouTube videos. Like I'm trying to find the best way for me to clear my path to still be successful and to still live out my passions, but also include him in it as well, because it means the world to me. Like when my son isn't with me, I don't feel complete, and I feel like it's my mission on this earth to step up and teach teach my son these life lessons and principles, and to devote my entire struggle, to devote my entire life to almost serve as a real life example of how he can overcome his own struggles and obstacles as they approach him in his life. I want all of this to be able to transcend into his life. And that's the greatest gift that I can give to him, is to show him, or to give him the lesson of perseverance and not giving up, and to also give him the lesson of knowing that I love him unconditionally, and no matter what he does, no matter what's going on in my life is always devoted to him, even if that means making him a part of my success. So I'm going to end that there. Please hit me up, shoot me a text message with any questions. If you have any advice for me, or if you want me to touch on a different topic in a future video, hit me up at 414-292-7258. Until next time, peace out. Keep viewing what you're viewing.
Subscribe.